Ever get that feeling? Like staring at a spreadsheet,
Yeah.
and you're like, there's got to be something useful in here, but it's all, I don't know, kind of hidden.
Oh, yeah, totally. Happens all the time.
Well, today we're going deep on something in Excel's Power Query. It's called the Character.ToNumber function.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Might not sound like much, but stick with us.
Yeah.
This thing can unlock some serious insights from your data. I'm excited to have you here, by the way. Real expert on this stuff.
Happy to be here.
So for our listeners who might be newer to Power Query, can you give us a quick rundown? What is this thing?
Right. So imagine Power Query as like the engine room of Excel. It's where you go to really get your hands dirty with data, cleaning it up, transforming it, making it work for you.
Like a data spa day, basically.
Yeah, kind of. And within this engine room, you've got a whole toolbox of functions. And one of those tools is our friend, Character.Number.
Got it. So Character.Number, what's the big deal? What does it actually do?
In simple terms, it takes a character, any character, could be a letter, number, symbol, even an emoji, and it translates it into its corresponding number.
Okay, hold on. Translation into numbers. It sounds kind of like a secret code thing.
It kind of is. Think of it like a giant lookup table, right? Every single character out there has its own unique number assigned to it. That's Unicode, but we'll get to that. So this function basically looks up that number for you.
Interesting. So like if I had the letter A in a cell, what would Character.Number do to it?
It would go to that giant table, look up A, and give you back its number, which is 65.
65, right. Okay. I'm starting to see the possibilities here. Now, you mentioned Unicode. I've definitely heard that before, but can you refresh our memory?
Unicode. That's the real star of the show. It's how computers understand text. Like literally every character you see, from simple letters to those fancy emojis, has a unique code point in Unicode.
So it's kind of like the universal language of computers then.
Exactly. Without it, computers would just be staring at a bunch of meaningless symbols.
Makes sense. Now, in the definition we have here, it talks about a 21-bit Unicode code point. Can you break that down for us?
Okay, yeah. Bit is just the basic unit of info for computers. Think of it like a tiny switch, on or off. So 21 bits just means there's a whole bunch of these switches, giving us a huge range of numbers to represent characters.
So a massive amount of characters can be covered with this.
Yep, pretty much everything you can think of. And that includes some special characters that actually need 2 code points to be represented. We call those surrogate pairs.
Surrogate pairs. That sounds complicated. What are those all about?
Not too bad, really. It's for those characters that are outside the normal range, like some emojis or symbols from very specific languages need 2 code points to be displayed properly.
Ah, that makes sense. So it's kind of like 2 halves of a whole character coming together.
Yeah, you could think of it like that. Now, looking at the syntax here, it's Character.Number, character as nullable text, as nullable number. What's the deal with this nullable business?
Yeah, that's a good question. It sounds a bit technical.
It's actually quite simple. Nullable just means the character you're feeding into the function, it could be blank, like literally nothing in that cell.
Ah, okay. So it can handle that without freaking out.
Exactly. No errors or anything. And same for the output, the number. If there's no character, the output will also be blank.
So it's flexible, handles different situations. I like it. But honestly, why would I, an average Excel user, ever need this function? Seems pretty niche, right?
Oh, not at all. Let's say you have a spreadsheet, tons of customer data, and each customer has a letter code, maybe based on their buying habits or something.
Okay, I can see that.
Well, Character.ToNumber lets you turn those codes into numbers, and suddenly, boom, you can do a whole bunch of analysis, sort the customers, calculate averages, even make fancy charts based on those codes.
Whoa, so those random letters become like meaningful data points.
Absolutely. Or think about product SKUs. They often have a mix of letters and numbers. This function can help you pull out specific numbers from those SKUs.
Oh, that's clever. I'm starting to see how much potential is hidden in plain text.
And that's the beauty of it, right? By changing these characters to numbers, you're building a bridge between how we read data and how computers process it.
We're getting a peek behind the curtain of how computers think. That's pretty cool.
Right. And it all comes back to Unicode, the system that connects everything.
This has been a really fascinating dive.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts for our listeners before we wrap up? A challenge, maybe?
I'd say don't underestimate the power of these seemingly simple functions.
Yeah.
Character. ToNumber is just one example. There's a whole world of data manipulation out there, all based on Unicode.
So keep exploring.
Exactly. Who knows what hidden gems you might find in Excel? Just gotta keep digging.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you all next time for another deep dive.
See you then.